Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we're talking about the virtue of being a virgin.
Gotta stop talking about versions.
I'll do it when it gets boring. Being a virgin is held in a very, very high regard. The idea of being patient for something greater than you, to the extent of defying your own biology, being an undiscovered gem, an untapped land, is something that has stimulated the imagination of a lot of people to the extent of creating art in its honor. But who decided that it's a good thing to be a virgin? I mean, both the virgin and the experience are just humans, just with different set of experiences. Is a hymen a determiner of virginity? If that's the case, then are married women not so virtuous? What about divorcees or rape victims? Is a piece of skin a defining feature of whether a human is moral or not? Since the dawn of time, man has always needed institutions to govern him. And these institutions issued laws and principles. Sometimes they're backed by logic, sometimes they're backed by cause and effect, and sometimes they're backed by abstract, imaginary ideals, like morals and virtues. Morals and virtues are abstract concepts that are common among a lot of nations in this world and tribes. They guarantee the safety and the sanity and people's welfare. And on a smaller scale, they guarantee the relationships between people and others and people and themselves. For example, don't self-harm, love yourself and love others, don't lie to people, etc. And one of these guidelines just seems to happen to stay a virgin until you're married. If you're a girl, you have to stay a virgin until someone finds your doorstep and proposes to you. If you're a guy, until you're financially stable to build your own family. But that's the thing, man-made concepts and morals can differ from place to place. See, virginity is not celebrated worldwide as a symbol of honor and dignity, or purity either. In fact, some cultures see them as negative. When did virginity become so important? It began with the Mariology in the 14th century, when the church decided that Mary and baby Jesus were the center of the cosmos. And one thing we know about Mary is that she is a virgin. She was never touched by a man. For Muslims, it's a sign that the Muslim woman isn't doing anything or wasn't doing anything before marriage. And to an extent, it's a social construct more than it is a religious one, and a test for a woman's faith and the degree of her obedience to her religion, which will later then trickle down to the obedience of her husband. A man can walk out of his bedroom and say, I married a woman of high virtues and morals, which is seen as good in a religious social context. But a smart person would know that it's false. Virginity can be faked. It can be bought on AliExpress nowadays. It can be reconstructed surgically, and there are plenty of ways around it that I'm not mentioning because I want to make sure someone is safe out there. But sadly, in a lot of countries, including mine sometimes, it was a very common thing to take the pants that the bride wore on her wedding night and to show everyone the blood stain on it and, dance with it even. And everyone saw that and everyone were happy. Ew. But what about if she was bad and decided to repent? Do we just exile her or stone her to death because she couldn't keep it to herself in a moment of weakness? We all have those. That's why most of us are fat. Imagine you got exiled every time you decided to eat a snack. Now, on to the other side of the world, Japan. Back in the Edo period, women were allowed to be themselves. They owned property, they spoke next to men, and it didn't matter if they were virgins or no. No one expected you to be one. Actually, it was thought that if you stayed a virgin for such a long time, there's actually something wrong with you, and that you were possessed by a demon or something. Just ugly. It was never a measurement of a woman's honor or status, and it never chased the suitors away. It seems to be more of an Abrahamic religion type of dilemma. Pre-Islam girls as young as 12 years old were able to engage in sexual acts, and it was possible for a girl or a woman to do it with multiple men a day. And like we said in the previous video, if a pregnancy results in one of these acts and you can't really tell who. You can just assign a guy to whoever you feel like it, like the cutest guy or the richest guy. Women back then were sexually liberated, and it all changed when Islam came about. Didn't like how the kids were arbitrarily assigned to men who didn't conceive them. And this goes to show how people's attitudes can change with time, and also people's values can change with time. There are two ways in which people's attitudes towards things and their virtues can change with time. First, you have your attitude towards the thing, like something is cool until it's no longer cool, or your financial circumstance. When you start to reach a certain level, then it becomes okay to make friends over, business deals, get married over, deals that would make you even richer, or that will catapult you to a different level in a different status. The common morality among poor people is that poverty is good, it's innocent, it's pure, it's not defiled by all the material goods and feelings like greed and wanting to socially climb up. Things like money is the root of all evil and there's no virtue in hoarding money. But once you upgrade your social status just a tiny bit, things like making acquaintances over business deals and to grow the business deals are no longer seen as bad. Being closer to the parent who buys you more things is no longer bad either. In chasing or seeking a husband that has, material status is not seen as something that's bad anymore. As opposed that if everyone was poor, you're going to see different aspects to the person which are moral than they are material. And so we find that this sentiment is also growing in here, where a girl that's working is, no one cares if she's a virgin or no. If she has her own house and her own car, who cares? And she's probably going to marry a coworker, and this coworker would probably not care either, probably because he took it, or because he would like the idea of, combining the salaries to have an even more upgraded lifestyle. So kind of one wins over the other. So after the Meiji period in Japan, that's where the modernization kicked in there, like I think before or after the war, I'm not sure anymore. But that's only when the concept of virginity got exported to Japan, and it finally became something that people cared about and that had a weight. But again, it's not as bad as in the Christian world or even the Arab world. So is virginity a good thing? This question has arguments that support it and arguments that go against. In the past, this used to be sort of a halo for the girl, her family, her husband, and his family. My son is a good kid, even if he's a loser. He's a good kid and he deserves the best, so we're giving him a virgin from a good family. And it's like an opened can, so yeah, he's getting the best of the best. But if a girl isn't a virgin, a few of the following scenarios could have. The man would say nothing and just move on and continue living with her as if nothing happened, would not care. He would make a huge scene, be violent, and divorce her, send her to family's house. And God knows what's going to happen in there. Third, honor killing. And this happens a lot, and it still happens in many, many countries still. But that's the thing. In some cases, the girls got into accidents. A kick to the genital, a bad fall, a horse ride, a bike ride, a birth defect, a stretchy hymen, the ones that never break. But that's the thing with men, they have to see blood. If there's no blood, he's gonna make sure she bleeds somehow. And it's probably not from the good place. Virginity is a dying concept. It has been proven wrong again and again and again. Being a virgin does not mean having a hymen, because like we said, sometimes it doesn't break. You can just be a virgin forever, then no, it doesn't work like that. It's about doing the act. Did you do the act? Yes, then you're no longer a virgin, whether if you have a hymen or no. But it has robbed a lot of people of their lives. It has ruined a lot of lives. A lot of bad things happen in the name of a piece of skin on a certain night. And hopefully the sentiment does change around it, but unfortunately it's not in the hands of women. It's really in the hands of men. And everything that women fought for so far, I'm not going to say equality. I actually believe in equity more, but the thing of just getting over such old methodologies that are very threatening to people's lives. Like people, the women, especially in the Arab world, try to get rid of all these stigmas and to give explanations to them. But it's all coming back again in forms of Andrew Tate, Alpha podcasts, and the return of patriarchy, and also women deciding to sell it. Like, what is that? It's all regressing. Even though all of these concepts like virginity and just have being a person of values have really, really good effects that are positive, but that's the thing. These effects that are positive are more abstract than they are concrete in real life. So what if she's a virgin? She's still gonna be a nagging wife. She's still gonna be a bad cook. A lot of things could happen, but if she's not, she's gonna die. So it's really not equal. Just because you married a virgin does not mean that she will not get modernized, that she will not become the LA girl, you know? That is very, very wrong way of thinking, because that's the thing with humans. We adapt and change depending on our environment. So is it the patriarchy or is it the religion? It's a toxic combination of the interpretation of both. In Islam and Judaism, for example, it's not mandatory for a woman to be a virgin if she wants to get married. But if it does happen that it's gotten taken away from her by force, she is entitled to a compensation, and the person who took it away is, well, he needs to expect a punishment. Christianity has this to say, though. Okay, it's Leviticus 21:13, and he shall take a wife in her virginity, a widow, or a divorced woman, or a woman who has been defiled, or a prostitute. These he shall not marry, but he shall take as his wife a virgin of his own people. Like, wow. But Christianity, again, is more of a man-made religion than it is a holy one, so let's not get into that one. So by hoping that the hymen is the evidence for the woman's innocence, a man would get a moral high of saying, I married a very moral person, a clean one, an untouched one. But unfortunately, they can control a woman's fate, whether she gets to live or gets to die. That's the question. Even though in, for example, Islam, like our prophet, he married widows, he married virgins, he married divorcees, he married women with kids. He did not care, like, what, her past was like, as long as she was a good person at that time. And he treated all of them equally. But that did not trickle down into our society nowadays. And I think it's the same thing with Judaism too. I'm not very well versed on it, so I'm not gonna get into details about it, but I do know that Christianity is very, very strict about it. It even requires you to stone the girl if she said that she's a virgin, but she was not. And to that I say, we can do better. A virgin is not always innocent. A non-virgin can repent and be better than the actual virgin. So yeah, let's do better.